G'day, Alex. It's Belmo. First off, I can't believe you sent me the voicemail. Ouch. But alright, no worries. Mate, I need you to do me a favor. So I'm noticing with the piston core and trend that I think we've found a really great shape when we're playing a little bit more direct up the lane. But I'm looking for something when we move a little further left that we can see a bit more push and a little bit more pop off the end of the pattern. So do you think you can make a modification to the piston core to do that? All right, I'll actually be in HQ in a few weeks. So hopefully this gives you enough time to do your thing, and I'll see you then. All right, mate. Bye. You're telling me that we've been able to take the RG up a few points. We're able to take the diff down a few points, but kind of just explain to me, when you say the densities have changed, like really simplify it for me. Where have you taken, or where have you changed the densities in a piston core to give those new numbers?
All we're doing is changing where the weight is inside the ball, right? We can't make the bowling ball lighter overall because you still need it to be 15 pounds. So we know that the RG is based on how heavy that center of the ball is. So if we take some mass out of that and we add a little bit more mass into the core, we're going to see those RG values go up a little bit, and we're going to see those total differential values drop because that shape is not quite as dense as it was in the past.
Right.
That's going to get us that length a little bit further down the lane and a little bit more kick off the spot. Then we fine tune it with that cover stock change.
So is that also the idea behind the 2-part pearl and 1-part solid? We didn't want to make it a solid cover because it would have been too strong a cover, and we didn't want to make it a complete pearl because it still might have been a little too clean. So we kind of bridged those worlds together to make that hybrid.
Exactly, it gives us the best of both worlds, and especially having the 2 parts pearl, we're still going to see that extra length, but we have to compensate it with that nano a little bit to try and get it to where, you know, we don't want everything all one direction. We don't want it too far down the lane. We don't want everything too early. We're trying to get you that benchmark type of look that you'd want to see right out of your pack.
All right, so check this out. So with trend, the ideal line that I've been working on here seems to be a little firmer, a little more direct up the lane, kind of like watching Francois Lavoie shoot 300 on TV with trend, Anthony Simonson winning the regional finals, playing a little firmer, a little further to the right, and that's kind of exactly what we're seeing right here. So the thing that we've seen on tour, from your guys' videos on social media, has been the further and further left that we move with trend, the more that there's another ball in our bag that seems to match up a little better. So what we wanted to create was that step up from trend, creating a little bit more angle without making it too uncontrollable, still making it predictable, but allowing you to move 5, 6, 7 boards further left. So that's what we're going to do now with trend, because the ideal line that we've found with this has been to move 7 boards further left and still use that same break point, and just watch the difference in ball motion. So that is a good 6 boards further left. You can see the extra push that we have, but that continuation down lane is pretty spectacular. So come and have a look at these numbers on Specto, and I'll show you more specifically what I'm talking about. So the first shot in red was trend. We're looking at a launch speed of 19 miles an hour. And there are 2 real main things that I want you guys to see. First off is the difference in launch position, right? Trend was at 24.8 boards and trend was at 31.6 boards. So that is a huge difference, but check out that breakpoint spot where they absolutely match identically. At 42.3 feet, they are in the exact same position, but then of course, you're looking at the angle of entry where trend and trend both went through the pins fantastic, but with that huge difference in launch position. And that's exactly what we wanted to see out of trend, the ability to move off of trend, move left off of it, hit more oil, create more angle, and still see that really awesome angle of entry through the pins.
Hey Jace,
Hey,
you had a chance to throw the ball a little bit?
mate, I have.
What do you think so far?
Well, I don't know how you bloody do it, but you do it every time. You know, what I'm seeing right now is more push in the mids, more pop off the spot down lane. You know, it's really driving through the pins at that really strong angle of entry, which I absolutely love, because naturally as we're moving further and further left on the lane, we're gonna need that angle of entry to go through the pins. And that's been the biggest difference that I'm seeing between trend and trend. I felt like trend was so good when you can close your angles down a little bit. You know, even anywhere between third, fourth arrow, it was pretty amazing. But when you got into that fifth and sixth arrow, trend really does outperform it in that part of the lane. So I think you've really banged the nail on the head. I'm really excited to kind of see what other people do with it. I mean, obviously I'm two hands, have 520 something RPMs, but I'm kind of interested in seeing someone, you know, maybe more traditional.
Sure, I was actually going to mention that too. That'd be perfect to get one-handed player that, you know, is a little bit more, not quite as much power, and see if they still see kind of that consistent push down the lane and enough shape off the end of the pattern to keep it going through the pins the right way.
Well, the good news is one of my best mates in the world actually is here. I haven't told him about this just yet. I don't want to tell him too much about the ball, but Martin Larsson from Sweden is here, and I want to drill him one up. I want to kind of get his thoughts. I know he felt exactly the same way about trend. He loved it when he could play a little further to the right with it going up the lane. I'm really hoping he enjoys moving a little further left with trend and really seeing that ball roar. It's a terrible pun, off the spot, but I'm going to say it anyway.
That's perfect. Let's get him in here. Let's drill him a ball and let's see what he does.
All right, I'll go find it. I want to ask you is, when you're releasing that ball, when you were to roll it the same way with the original trend, what differences are you seeing?
I think that shot with the trend would have stood up harder and gone forward a little bit more. I probably would have left a 2-pin or maybe even a bucket or something like that from that deep with the original trend.
So what we've done, right, because you don't know too much about the trend, is we've still kept that same piston core, but we've modified it a little bit. So we're seeing a little bit more push in the mids, which is allowing us to see a little bit more pop down lane.
I feel like the cover stocks also doesn't really dig into the lane that hard. Like, it's a little smoother of it. It doesn't hook and stop. It just has a little nice motion, continuous motion.
Well, it's got a little bit of NRG on the outside of it, so it has a stronger cover than the original trend, but the change in the numbers and the modified weight block, I think, really complements that stronger cover. So we're throwing a stronger cover on it to kind of just still see the motion that we want in the first 40 feet of the lane, but create that real predictable, strong rolling back end. So I'm hoping that's what you're seeing, and I'm hoping that's what you like.
Well, I really hope that too. I mean, as good as we are, we still need some room on the lane. So we need something that gives us a little space so we don't have to nail every single shot. And for a while there with the Trend, I felt like there was a little bit too small window for me. And this one feels like it's a little smoother. It doesn't breathe the dry as hard as the Trend. So I think I will have a chance to use this one on a bigger variety of lane condition.
Cool, love it. I'm really excited to get this in the hands of so many more people because I think this is going to be a staple in a lot of people's bowling bags. But there's one more thing that we still need to kind of finish it off, the cherry on top, if you will, and that is the color combo. So what I've noticed is that really bright kind of crimson look, it's, for my eye, it's a little too bright. So we wanted to just tone it down a little bit and add a little bit more of that deep red. So I've got the guys in the warehouse to make me a sample, and that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to be removing that crimson kind of red, that really bright highlighted red, with a more beautiful deep toned red with the gold sparkle through. So that'll give us the hybrid cover, the NRG hybrid cover with 2 part pearl, 1 part solid. It's going to look absolutely fire on the shelf. It's going to look even better rolling down the lane for you guys, and I honestly cannot wait till we launch